The eternal rhythm of life, a story of connection and discovery. There once lived an old man in the village of Okpa called Baba Mdogo. He usually sat under a shade near the market square to play the djembe asterisk. He was very much admired by Jamari, a young boy. Sometimes Jamari would spend whole days with Baba Mdogo, watching him play. Then one day Jamari asked Baba Mdogo why he played the drum every day. Baba Mdogo smiled at the young boy, his weathered hand still resting on the djembe as if it were an old friend. The drum had a deep, resonant sound, the kind that spoke the language of the earth itself, guiding him on a journey to discover his own voice and place in the world. Jamari, who had always been curious about the old man's daily ritual, asked again, his eyes wide with genuine interest, "Baba Mdogo, why do you play the drum every day? Baba Mdogo, why do you play the drum every day?" Jamari, who had always been curious about the old man's daily ritual, asked again, his eyes wide with genuine interest. Baba Mdogo paused, his eyes twinkling beneath the shadow of his wide-brimmed hat. He looked out at the bustling market square for a moment, as if weighing his words carefully. Then, slowly, he began to speak. "My boy," he said, his voice soft but steady, "this drum, this djembe, is not just an instrument, it is a story. Every beat I strike is like a word, and every rhythm is a sentence. This drum carries the voices of those who have come before me, the ancestors, the spirits of the land, and the heartbeat of the earth itself." Jamari listened intently, his mind filled with wonder. Baba Mdogo continued, "I play every day because the drum keeps me connected to my roots, to the past, to the present, and to the future. It's how I remember who I am, and how I teach the world about what has been, what is, and what will be. Without this rhythm, I would be lost. The drum is my teacher, my guide, and my friend." Jamari nodded, though he still didn't fully understand. He had heard stories about the elders who had passed on, and the young boy knew that the music Baba Mdogo made was special, but there was something deeper in the old man's words that intrigued him. "Do you think I could ever play like you?" Jamari asked hesitantly. Baba Mdogo chuckled softly, patting the young boy's head. "My boy, you will play your own way. The drum does not belong to any one person. It belongs to the earth, the sky, and the people. When it is your time, you will hear its call, and the rhythm will speak to you. Until then, just listen. The drum will teach you in ways you can't yet understand." Jamari felt a warmth in his chest, a kind of peace he had never known before. He knew then that his journey with the drum, like Baba Mdogo's, had only just begun. From that day on, Jamari sat by the old man each day, listening, watching, and learning the language of the djembe, until one day he felt the rhythm in his bones and knew, as Baba Mdogo had promised, that it was his turn to play. Days turned into weeks, and Jamari continued to sit by Baba Mdogo every afternoon, absorbing the steady pulse of the djembe. At first he simply listened, his eyes closed, allowing the music to wash over him. The deep, resonant beat seemed to speak to his very soul, filling him with a sense of belonging he had never known before. Baba Mdogo noticed the change in the boy. At first Jamari had been restless, shifting from foot to foot, unsure how to sit still for so long. But now, he seemed to understand the quiet stillness of the moments between the beats, the way the world paused, just for a moment, to listen. One afternoon, after a particularly long session of playing, Baba Mdogo set the djembe down carefully beside him and looked at Jamari. "You have been listening well, my boy," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "Now it is time for you to try." Jamari's heart skipped a beat. "But I don't know how to play like you," he stammered. Baba Mdogo chuckled, his deep laughter like the rumble of thunder. "You don't need to play like me, Jamari. You need to play like yourself. The drum does not demand perfection, it demands honesty. It is not the sound you make, but the truth you express through it." With a motion as smooth as the breeze, Baba Mdogo lifted the djembe and handed it to Jamari. The drum felt heavy in the boy's hands, but strangely comforting, as if it had been waiting for him all along. "Start simple," Baba Mdogo instructed. "Let the drum speak to you. Play what you feel. The earth speaks in rhythms, and all you need to do is listen." Jamari closed his eyes, feeling the texture of the drum under his fingers, the wooden surface warm from the sun. He hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. But then, something shifted inside him. a spark of connection, like the first stirrings of a great fire. His fingers gently tapped the drumhead, creating a soft, tentative doo-doo-doo-ba rhythm. The sound was imperfect, but it felt right. The beats flowed naturally, like the rhythm of his heartbeat. He tapped again, a little louder this time, and then again, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath him. Baba Mdogo watched him, nodding slowly. "You see? You already know it," he said quietly. "The drum doesn't need fancy tricks or complicated rhythms. It only needs your heart. When you play from your heart, the rhythm will find its way." Jamari's hands moved with more confidence now, the beats growing in strength and clarity. Each tap, each stroke, was a message, a conversation between him and the drum. The deeper he went, the more the sound seemed to fill him, as if he were becoming one with it. After a while, Baba Mdogo motioned for Jamari to stop. The boy's hands were sore, but his spirit was full. He looked up at the old man, eyes wide with wonder. "You see," Baba Mdogo said, his voice filled with warmth, "the rhythm is not just in the drum, it is in you. It has always been there, waiting for you to discover it." Jamari smiled, his heart swelling with pride and joy. "I can feel it, Baba. I can feel the rhythm inside me." Baba Mdogo patted him on the shoulder. "Good. Now remember this. The rhythm is always changing, just like life. Some days you will play softly, other days you will play loud. Sometimes the rhythm will flow easily, and other times it will be hard to find. But you must always listen and you must always play." Jamari nodded, feeling the weight of the old man's words sink deep into his heart. The djembe, now more than just a drum, had become a part of him, a bridge to the past, a voice for the present, and a song for the future. As the sun began to dip low on the horizon, casting a warm golden light across the market square, Jamari sat beside Baba Mdogo, continuing to play, not just with his hands, but with his soul. And though his music was simple, it carried the depth of the village's stories, the wisdom of the elders, and the promise of many more rhythms yet to be discovered. From that day on, Jamari played the djembe every day, just as Baba Mdogo had done. And in time, his rhythms began to speak of his own journey, of a boy who had listened to the earth, who had learned from the past, and who had found his place in the great, eternal rhythm of life.